So you want to hear a story? I got one for you. Imagine living in a small town where everyone knows everyone. You go out to the mailbox one day and there's a letter from someone that knows your darkest secret. And then your neighbors, your friends, your family all receive letters of their own. Now, this really happened in a quiet Ohio town, and by the time it was over, there would be a booby trap, a murder, and a mystery that remains unsolved to this day. Welcome to Nowit'sdark. In 1976, Circleville, Ohio seemed like the kind of town where nothing bad could happen. But that summer, Mary Gillespie, a local bus driver, started receiving anonymous letters. They were postmarked from Columbus, Ohio, and they accused her of having an affair with the school superintendent. These letters demanded she stop the affair or else. Now, after she got a couple and completely dismissed them, her husband Ron got a letter of his own. His letter was also postmarked Columbus, Ohio, and the purpose was to let Ron know about his wife's affair. The letter also made it clear that he needed to confront her and make sure she ends the affair, or his life would be in grave danger. Ron talked to his wife about it. She denied everything, and she told Ron about the letters that she had received. Ron believed her. He had no reason not to, and he was sure all this, whatever this was, would go away. And then, if that wasn't enough, other people in town began finding similar envelopes in their mailboxes. Residents, businesses, even officials received letters written in the same strange block letters with no return address, all postmarked Columbus, Ohio. Now, they had no idea who was writing these letters, but whoever it was seemed to know everything. Fast forward to August 19th, 1977, Ron Gillespie receives a phone call at home. The caller was never actually identified, but whoever it was had Ron furious. He told his daughter he was going to confront the letter writer, grabbed his gun, jumped in his truck, and headed out. Unfortunately, Ron never came home. Police found his truck crashed into a tree. He was dead on the scene. Inside the truck, they found his revolver with one bullet fired. There was no evidence the gun was fired at the scene, so what happened to that bullet? Ron's death was ruled an accident, but many people believed the letter writer had just claimed their first victim. Even after Ron's passing, the letters didn't stop. If anything, things got worse. In 1983, Mary Gillespie found a strange sign on her bus route. It was handwritten, it was about Mary, and so she decided to tear it down. When she tore the sign down, she saw it was attached to a wooden box, and inside the box, a pistol aimed right at her face. It was rigged to a wire connected to the sign and designed to fire if someone removed the sign. Now, a co-worker of Mary's, also a bus driver who drove by the spot where the sign was found about 20 minutes or so before Mary, said that she had seen a man over 6 feet tall with sandy hair standing next to an El Camino. Now, while this is a vague description, it doesn't match Paul Freshour at all. Paul is about 5'8", he's got dark black hair, but oddly enough, Paul's ex-wife just happened to be dating a 6'2" man with sandy hair, and her brother owned an El Camino. None of this came up in court. Investigators were able to trace the gun back to Paul Freshour. When questioned, Freshour admitted it was his gun, but said it had been stolen weeks ago. Investigators spoke with Paul's wife, Karen Sue, who told them Paul thought the world of Mary before Ron died, but after his death, Paul hated her. She told him Paul was behind the letters. She was sure of it. In fact, she had found several letters, one ripped into pieces and others around the house. Now, I should point out, she didn't turn in any of these letters. She said she destroyed them, and she only mentioned them after Paul was arrested. At this point, they were in the middle of an ugly divorce, and Karen Sue was living in a trailer on Mary Gillespie's property. Paul Freshour cooperated in every way. He gave permission to search his home and his car. He provided handwriting samples. He continued to deny writing the letters and said he had nothing to do with the booby trap. He even agreed to take a polygraph test. Unfortunately for Paul, he failed and was arrested for the attempted murder of Mary Gillespie. And things just keep going bad for Paul. A handwriting examiner said Freshour could have been the writer. The day the booby trap was found, he had taken the day off from work, and the box that the gun was found in could have come from his job. Now, there were no prints found on the box or the gun, and Paul says he took the day off because he was having work done on his home. For decades, these letters haunted the town, hundreds of them sent to dozens of people. When Paul Freshour was found guilty of the attempted murder of Mary Gillespie and sentenced to 7 to 25 years, everyone thought the nightmare was over. But the letters kept coming. Paul even got letters in jail, letters taking credit for framing him. The warden said it was impossible for Paul to be the one who had written these letters. He was in isolation, he had no pens, no papers, and any letters he would have written would have been screened. The letters finally stopped in 1994, after nearly 20 years and after Freshour was released from prison. Years later, Mary Ellen O'Toole, a retired FBI profiler who had worked on the Unabomber and the Green River Killer cases, was brought in to examine the letters. She believes there was only one writer who was not highly educated, while Paul Freshour actually had a master's degree. She stated the writer took great pleasure in the pain he caused and was a bully who enjoyed bullying. People who knew Paul Freshour said he was not that kind of man. Beverly East, a forensic document examiner who examined many of the letters and handwriting samples from Freshour, agreed there was only one writer, but she believes that writer was Paul Freshour. So, was there just one writer or many? How did the writer know so much about so many people? Was it Paul Freshour, or, as some people have said, a member of law enforcement with access to the kind of information people didn't typically share with their neighbors, the kind of information found in these letters? To this day, nobody knows. All that remains are the letters, hundreds of them, and a mystery that refuses to stay buried. If the writer is still alive, maybe they're still watching. The Circleville Letters are one of America's most terrifying unsolved mysteries. But what do you think? Was Paul Freshour guilty, or was he framed? Is the real letter writer still out there? And how did they know so many people's secrets? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe, you know how this works. And thanks for watching Now It's Dark.